Sai Ram, I offer my most humble pranams at Bhagawan's lotus feet. Dearest Swami, respected elders, dear brothers and sisters, this has been a kind of a sudden opportunity for me because somebody else was slated to speak today and I was told that he has been held up in Bangalore, so could I speak? I usually like to prepare my thoughts in advance before I speak. Because, see, I believe that finally what we speak is what Swami has decided. But that doesn't excuse me from putting in my effort. I make my effort, I prepare, and then finally what comes is Bhagawan's will. I can't give up doing my effort and tell Swami, everything is your will, so you do it. Because it is said, you do your best, God will do the rest. You can't rest and tell God you do the best. So last night when I was just thinking what I should speak about, immediately the first thought came about a visit that Bhagawan made to Hadshi and Mumbai in the year 2009. It was a wonderful opportunity that I got to travel along with Bhagawan that time, and it was a very new and unique experience for me because this was the first time ever that I got this opportunity to travel with Swami. I got the chance to see him up close, live the day's schedule with him, and it was a never before experience thing. So there were some very, very unique and special lessons which I felt that I learnt looking back now. At that time it was just enjoyment and fun being with Swami. But thankfully I noted down everything in my diaries, whatever was happening on a daily basis. And today when I look back at those diary entries, I feel there is a lot to learn, there is a lot to enlighten myself with. I just thought I would share some of those learnings today. Memories and lessons from the Hadshi visit, October-November 2009. So as I said, this was my first travel with Bhagawan, and it is not as if I had not pined or wanted to travel with Swami, because every year Swami would go to Kodaikanal. He would take along with him a number of staff members and students, and it was a great privilege and honor to be able to get into that list. And I tried everything possible, physically, mentally, spiritually, to get onto that list. What does Swami, trying to follow discipline, trying to tell Swami that I will do this bhajan, do this, do that, different things when you try to bribe God. I will do this for you, Swami, you take me to Kodai in return. But none of those sadhanas or payments or bribes worked, and I never got the opportunity to travel with Swami to Kodaikanal. I used to always feel bad that Swami, that is one lacuna in my student career. Some students have been here for 2 years and they have gone to Kodaikanal already with you. I have spent 8 years, 9 years as a student, never been to Kodaikanal. The funny thing is, Swami would come sometimes in my dreams and tell me also. I won't go into those details, but he would tell, this is there, after this I will take you to Kodaikanal. You finish this, I will take you to Kodaikanal. So I felt, in my opinion, whatever Swami had instructed me, I had finished, but I never got to go to Kodaikanal. So in that light, I passed out as a student, I joined as a staff at Radio Sai, and I gave up actually. I gave up my desire or hopes actually, not desire, hopes of ever going to Kodaikanal with Swami, because I felt if I couldn't make it as a student, how will I make it into that list anyway? And it also happened that Swami stopped going to Kodaikanal itself, So that was a forgotten chapter. So in that light, I remember on that evening, Swami was seated outside. He was looking at different people. He called a person, Mr. Shivaji Rao Jadav, who by then we had come to know that he had set up one entire ashram at Hadshi near Pune. It was not the first time that he was doing something like this, because his elder brother, Uttam Rao Jadav, he had set up Swami's ashram at Latur and Chakur, and Bhagawan had visited and inaugurated that ashram in 1995, the time when they had been hit by that earthquake and Latur was in pain and it was in distress. It's a very interesting story about these brothers themselves. They are having a lot of lands and industries, and though they have a lot of physical wealth, material wealth, they have very large heart and a great spiritual wealth also, because of which their family has been deeply devoted to Panduranga, to Shirdi Baba. And the first time in the 90s when they came and visited Swami's ashram in Vrindavan, they were so moved by the cleanliness, they were so moved by the teachings, the quotations, the ambience, the environment, everything. They just wanted to take this environment back to their home in Latur. And they said this environment cannot be created unless there is Swami. So if we want to create this environment there, we have to take Swami with us. So they decided that we have to take Swami with us. And 3 years of working and prayers and efforts, it so happened that Bhagawan in 95 visited Latur. And though it might look like it is to fulfill the desire of these two brothers, when we go through the entire Latur Chakur visit, we will realize that Bhagawan has blessed so many people along the way. And in my short experience with Swami, this is what I have realized, that selfish prayers will never yield fruits. But if we do the prayers for everybody together, in that we can adjust our selfishness also a little bit. And then Swami will bless, Swami said, I went to Africa actually to bless a devotee. But if we read about Bhagawan's African visit, in fact, me and my colleague Prem Anush, we are doing a satsang on Bhagawan's visit to Africa. We have covered almost 8 hours and we are still going on and on, because so many things, so many beings got blessed. I say beings because it was not just humans and devotees. The animals got blessed. It is an amazing chronicle of the divine to Africa. So you see, though Swami says, I went there in response to a devotee's prayer, the devotee's prayer is one among so many other things also. And if that devotee is smart enough, he will try to combine everybody's force along with his own prayer, so that Bhagavan will yield. And that is what happened in Latur also. The earthquake had struck, there was so much pain. They said, Swami, whatever aid may come, whatever houses may be rebuilt, that pain only God can remove, Swami. So many devotees are seeking, villagers, pining, everything. Along with that, Swami, one mandir also has been built. Please come and inaugurate it. So Bhagavan had been there. So now this was the second time. That was in 1995. Now this is 2009. Almost 14-15 years later, a shrine had been built at Hadshi. And they wanted Bhagavan to visit, and Bhagavan had agreed. In fact, speaking of the Africa visit, Swami's tickets for Africa, along with his entire entourage, had been booked 9 times already and cancelled 9 times. It was the 10th time that Bhagavan actually made the visit in 1968. So, as I said, whenever Bhagavan visits, it is not like the way any one of us visit. Not to see a place or have fun there. In fact, when Bhagavan was taken to some of the best wildlife reserves in Africa, Swami was telling, what are you doing? I would love to be with the devotees at Nairobi, at Kampala. Why have you brought me here? It is not as if, when I see this also, I'm just taking a little detour. It is not as if Swami doesn't want to bless the animals. I would wonder, Swami, you have only said that the animals are also your devotees. So when you're blessing them, why are you saying that I would rather be with devotees at Kampala? Why animals are not devotees? The animals are devotees. Yes, the animals will receive Bhagavan's blessings. But will the animals realize that they're receiving Bhagavan's blessings? No. That is why Swami says, Jantunam Narajanma Durlabham. Human birth is very blessed and sanctified because human has the capacity to understand the blessing that is being bestowed on him or her. An animal doesn't. Swami may spend time and bless the animal, but we don't know whether the animal, the impala deer or the antelopes or the rhinos, the hippos, the cheetahs in Africa realized that they were being blessed by God. Surely they would have progressed spiritually in their own way, but they would not have consciously realized because they don't have discrimination, which only humans have been given. And that is why Swami, when I saw this, when I heard of this episode, I just felt Swami prefers to be in the company of those who understand the blessing that is being given. Now the question arose in my mind, do all of us humans understand the blessing that is being given on us? So even among us humans, Bhagawan will have a preference to be with those who can understand him better, who can utilize him better. Simply because otherwise it is wasted, right? The avatar is not an ordinary phenomenon. And therefore I felt those are animals and they are not able to understand. Being a human, I still behave like an animal. Shouldn't I start behaving like a human so that the Lord feels that he should spend time with me rather than the animals? Anyway, completing the detour, coming back. So, that evening when I was seated there, Swami looked and I understood that Swami was picking different students who would be traveling along with him. I had absolutely no hope of being selected because when my chances of getting selected were so good, I never got selected. When the teachers had told that Swami, he's a very good boy, you should take him along, I had not got selected. Now, without any recommendation, without anybody telling anything, how will I be in the list? That was my thought. That was my foolish thought. That was my ignorant thought. Ignorance and foolishness often happens when we are in the physical presence because we forget in whose presence we are. We consider Swami as ourself and a little better, that's all. Like R.K. Narayanan, one of the greatest writers of modern India, he has written that a buffalo was asked how God is. And the buffalo said, the Lord is a magnificently huge buffalo with long horns and a big tail. He wrote that to say, this is the mistake we make. We build God in our own image and make him little better than us and think that is God. So if I can run 10 kilometers in 1 hour, God can do 10 kilometers in 10 minutes. That's all we think of God as. We can't imagine him grander than that. So we cast our limitations onto God while God is trying to constantly cast his infinity upon us. So I was sure that Swami will never anyway pick me, but he looked at my direction and said, go in. So I was, wow, me? Is it me? And I didn't want to get up immediately because in case it was not me, I didn't want to destroy that illusion that it is me immediately. So I just sat and I kept looking. Swami said once more, come. And now before I could get up, there were so many students sitting with birthday trays. Bhagawan would bless all the students whose birthday it was by putting some akshata grains on their head, signing a photograph and all that. And they got up and went to Swami. And Swami started blessing them. So my joy lasted a few seconds and I said, oh no, see, this was actually Swami calling the birthday boys to bless them. But then after having blessed almost 8 or 9 of them, Swami again looked and said, go in. I was very thrilled. I got up, went in, and later a few of us, we were called into the interview room. Swami was seated there and he wanted a teacher there to write down everybody's names. All names were written, all those who were there. In fact, while writing down the names also, Swami kept asking, what's your name? Ashwat. Write down. What's your name? Prabhakar. Write down. What's your name? Neeraj. Write down. He asked everybody except me. So I said, oh God, Swami, my name is not, this is how the mind plays. Swami has called me 3-4 times. I was picked. And then I was called into the interview room. I'm sitting at Swami's feet and I'm still thinking, oh Swami, my name, put it in the list. Oh, Swami, tell my name also. The whole interview actually got over. Swami told so many things about Hadshi, how we will be going, everything. But he never mentioned my name to the teacher there. So after we came out, I was still in doubt. Whether my name is there in the list or not. Is my name there in the list? And finally, a few days before the actual day of departure, we were all called to the administrative block of the university and one by one told that your name is there, be ready, get prepared, get your luggage, don't get too much luggage, get this is there, how you should behave, all that. And when I went through that interview, I felt happy. I said, okay, fine, I'm there. I'm there. Today, looking back at that, I feel what a tragedy it is, When God gives his assurance, we don't have faith. We need somebody else. It is often said in the temple, we don't pray to the idol, we look forward to the priest. Because we look at the idol, then we are going on looking at the priest, when he will get the prasadam for us, when he will get the aarti plate to us, when he will give this, when he will give that. The priest gives the flower and we are so happy. Arey, I actually came for the Lord, right? But I'm stuck with the priest. In real life, this is what happens. We seek God but get enamored by other things and forget what we actually are seeking. Just imagine the joy that I received when I was told at the administrative block of the university that you are selected and get ready was more than actually hearing it from Swami in the interview room. I mean, I just felt that this is something I should always be aware of, because there are so many things Swami has promised us. Swami has said, you take refuge at my feet and give up all your worries, I will take care of you. But no, I'm not satisfied. I'm not at all consoled. I'm worried. I'm upset. I'm consoled by a fat bank balance. I'm consoled by a secure job. I'm consoled by 2-3 good relationships and 4-5 best friends. That is what consoles me, not the Lord's assurance. The Lord has said, if you depend on me, I will take care of all your needs. So, Swami, I don't know, Swami. I know you'll take care of the world, but my case maybe, and I will work on my own. So I'll take care of myself. See, this is the way it manifests itself, I felt. Because that is what actually happened. In the interview room, I'm not convinced that I'm going with Swami. But when some person, the registrar calls and said, you are there, okay, now this is guarantee, I'm going. And then, we had to go by flight from the Puttaparthi airport, Prasanthi NIlayam. The flight had been chartered. So we all gathered there, and as the plane landed, and we were also excited, we knew that, I was so excited, I knew that I'll be in the same plane where Swami is sitting, and at that point in time, we were watching the plane come from up, and it came and landed, and slowly taxied and came parked itself next to the runway. It was a huge aircraft, huge aircraft. Coolly it could seat about 300 people, but Swami had picked only about 30 of us. I was thinking, wow, how we can have 4 seats per head, 4 seats per head. But one interesting thing that I read, somebody asked, a child actually asks the father, Father, how big is God? How big is God? The father smiles and takes the child to the airport. And when a plane is about to land, he points to the plane and says, how big is that aeroplane? The child looks and says, the size of my finger. It's a small aeroplane. Father says, wait. The plane comes, it lands, it taxis and comes near the airport. The father says, how big is the plane? The child says, my God, Dad, the plane is so big. Dad says, wait. And then they board their aircraft. And Dad now asks, how big is the plane? The child says, my God, Dad, this plane is so big. In fact, wherever I see it is a plane only. It is only the plane, there's nothing else that I can see. So is the answer to the question, how big is God? It depends on our distance from Him. The closer we are, the bigger He is. And when we are the closest, everywhere we see only God. All around is God. Above me is God, below me is God, around me is God, beside me is God. Just like that aeroplane. We got into that aircraft and Swami was sitting right in the front. It was very nice, because though it was chartered for Bhagawan, the air crew, everybody went about their own duties. So the initial boarding instructions were being given. So that, the same thing that you should wear your seat belts when you're taking off, you should do this. And when they said that, Swami also buckled his seat belt. I felt it was so cute. And then he said, in case there's a drop in air pressure, these masks will drop down, so kindly put it on before helping others. You try to put it on. And I was thinking, here's a person who is the life breath for the whole universe. And you're telling him how to take in oxygen. I was just thinking in my mind. And then he was saying, in case of emergency landing on water, the seat below will act as a flotation device. You strap it around yourself and you will not sink. Again, I was thinking, here's the person who takes us across the Bhavasagara. You're teaching him how to swim in the worldly. These were all very spontaneous thoughts. I was just sitting and thinking there. And I just realized, see what a difference in perspective it makes. Once we identify someone as our guru and guide versus somebody who is there just, maybe doing our duty sincerely. I say this because many times people ask, why do we need God? Why do we need God? If I do good, it's enough, right? There are many organizations who are not based on any faith. I'm not speaking of religious organizations, but atheistic. Why do I need to believe in God? I'll just do good, it's enough. When I actually heard this question, I thought, yeah, right. Why do we need faith in God? Why do we need God? Can't we just do good? Because if you do good, good happens to you, right? In the long run, right. But in the short term, you will see many times that you do something good and bad happens to you. You do something bad and good happens to you. That is why people ask, why does good happen to bad people? He's such a terrible fellow and he gets everything. He gets away by cheating people. And I'm such a good person and always bad happens to me. That's because we think life is linear. We think action A, reaction A. Action B, reaction B. Action C, reaction D. We think this is life. Life is not like that. Life is action A, reaction F. Action B, reaction Q. Action C, reaction Z. Why? Because Swami says different things have different time. Let's take a practical example. Somebody touches a hot vessel to my hand, I immediately withdraw. Reaction instantly after the action. The same thing Swami says, when you eat food, before it digests and you let out a belch of satisfaction, it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you burp. It took 15 minutes. The same thing Swami says, plant a seed, it grows into a plant after a few months. Plant a tree, it will take few years to become a tree and give fruits. So you see, different reactions have different times, reaction times. And so when it comes as an action-reaction package, we sometimes make a mistake of thinking, he cheated that person and he won the lottery. This person donated a kidney and his sister died. We think that because he donated a kidney, his sister died. Because this fellow cheated a person, he won the lottery. No, wrong. We are messing up the action-reaction cycle. So, though we may theoretically know that action-reaction don't follow each other, we still get affected when a good action is followed by a bad reaction. Or when a bad action of somebody else is followed by a good reaction, we feel bad, we still get affected. Even though theoretically, I know that they are not actually related, I still feel they are related. Somehow I can't help but feel that it's related. And I realize that that is where God comes in. I don't do good for the sake of a good reaction. I do good because God loves it. And therefore, if I don't get a good reaction, I am not disappointed because I didn't do it for a good reaction. I did it for God. God will take care. I surrender to Him. I'm saying this because I met a person who has served for 20 years in an NGO without bothering about himself. And then he met the greatest tragedies in life. Greatest tragedies in life. Personally, organizationally, health-wise. And he said, why did this happen to me? What bad have I done? I don't know. There are two brothers in a family. One is a smoker, the other is not. The person who is not a smoker gets lung cancer. And he says, why did I get it? I don't know. And it is at such moments that we need God. Because we can't explain everything. And it is only God, in God, that we can take comfort. It is only when we do actions to please God that we won't build expectations and get disappointed. Because faith in God changes our perspective to life. And that is why I say, though we are sincere in our duty and we are good people, we are missing out a large chunk if we don't know God. If we don't know God. Because when the opposite happens to our expectations, we don't know what to do because our theories go down the drain then. Because theory says, do good, get good. Do bad, get bad. I did good, but I got bad. He did bad, but he got good. Now what do I do? That is where having a higher super wisdom, whatever I may call it, consciousness, the universe, God, it helps. And I noticed this in the plane as I sat there. The way the person was explaining what he was thinking and what I was thinking was so different. Maybe only because I felt that is God sitting in the front seat and he felt it is an esteemed passenger in the front seat, that's all. That was another lesson as we took off in the flight. We landed at Pune. Pune, it was a airport which is like a defense airport. It was not a standard airport then. And so there was a lot of restrictions to do photography there. And as Swami got down from the aircraft, a lot of VIPs had come. So many political bigwigs from the state of Maharashtra. They had all come onto the tarmac itself to receive Swami. And there was a lot of confusion. The plan was that all the students would go in a bus to Hadshi, and Swami would visit the residence of these Jadav brothers at Pune, and after visiting the residence, Swami would come to Hadshi. And Swami's car would travel quite fast. The bus would be a little slower. So the students should go earlier and wait there in anticipation for Swami. One other student who was along with me taking video, with the video camera, he somehow managed to get along with Swami's security vehicle, and he proceeded towards the Jadav residence. Now I was barefoot because I had not worn my slippers on the flight, because Swami was there on the flight. And so I was barefoot on the tarmac. I had no idea where my slippers were. I was running. I didn't want to get into the bus because I felt with my camera I should go and cover what's happening at the Jadav residence. But I had no idea where the Jadav residence is. I had no idea how to get there. There was a lot of security, and I was simply running. And then I saw the state president of the Maharashtra organization. He was also running. I said, "Uncle, where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to my car." "Uncle, can you take me to Jadav's residence?" He said, "No, all of us are not allowed there. You should be with the students, right?" By this time, I had no idea where the students' bus was. This is an airport, right? And it's big, and I had no idea where the students' bus was. And I don't know if it has already started off towards Hadshi. I felt totally lost. So I started running towards where I thought the bus would be. I went there was no bus. Now I thought, oh God, having come here stuck up at Pune, it's going to be horrible now. What do? I just had I had my cell phone with me, no wallet, but I had a camera worth a few lakhs, and I'm stuck on the road, barefoot. Suddenly, an Audi SUV comes and parks next to me. The door opens, and a person inside says, "You want to get in?" I looked. It was the senior Jadav brother who had actually traveled with Bhagawan in the flight from Puttaparthi. He said, "How are you planning to go? You want to get in?" I said, "Yeah, sure, thank you." I got in. And as we drove on, I realized the influence that these brothers had, because he called up the traffic control room and he said that Swami has already left. I have to get to my residence before Swami reaches, or at least before Swami leaves. So this is a route I would want to take. You tell me which route to take so that the traffic is cleared. So his driver was given a route to take so that all signals will be opened up for him. I thought, wow, amazing. And he asked me, "So what's your plan? What were you planning to do?" I said, "I have no idea. I'll come with you to your house." "But there they will not allow anybody inside." I was thinking, this is the owner of the house and he's telling like this. He said, "Listen." He pulled out one badge from his pocket. On that it was written family. He said, "Only 30 members of our house, only they have this. This one extra, you wear this. If you wear this, then nobody will stop you. You can come into the house." Wow. And that is when I realized, when you are on Swami's side, the world becomes your family. The world becomes your family. And my experience after 2009 has shown me this. So much of love, so much of regard, so much of affection, simply because he belongs to Swami. You belong to Swami and you belong to the world. This is a magical thing I realized. I was so touched. He didn't care about my credentials. He doesn't know whether I'm a criminal or a normal guy. He doesn't know what sort of fellow I am, what mindset I have. Nothing he knows. He said, "You are my family. Come." He took me and I walked in, walked in. And that was a realization that really has stayed with me. Be always on Swami's side. Because then, it doesn't matter whether the world is against you or for you. Everybody becomes your family. It becomes Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It becomes Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. And then when we entered the Jadav residence, and Swami was having his lunch there. He had already blessed all the members of the family, and Swami was having lunch, and I was very hungry. Now, related to my hunger, there's another incident. They often say a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. Meaning, when you get an opportunity, grab the opportunity. Don't wait for a future opportunity thinking it'll be better or anything like that. Live in the present. That's what is meant by a bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Because it's an opportunity that's there. Now, as I said, I had never traveled with Swami anywhere. But I had heard so much about all these travels. And one thing that was a common feature in all the visits was everybody was fed sumptuously. People would go to Kodaikanal for 10 days, come back 4 kilos heavier, 5 kilograms heavier, in spite of doing morning walk for 5 kilometers. Which means there would be lot of food, sumptuous food, okay. Now this was something I look forward to because I have both the weaknesses of the tongue, talking and eating, output, input, both are my weaknesses. And one of the things I rejoiced with the Hadshi trip was, wow, next 6 days it's going to be awesome food, All kinds of delicacies would be served. I was sure of that. And I was very thrilled about that. So on the morning when we had to leave, the bus that picked us up from the ashram to the airport, it picked us up early in the morning at 5:30. At 6 o'clock, it halted at the senior boys hostel. And we were told all of us should go and have breakfast in the hostel. Dosas were being made for us. I didn't go and have. I thought, who will waste stomach space on these hostel dosas? Some awesome food is going to come there, I don't want to eat this hostel dosa. So I didn't eat. Then we reached the airport. It was 7 o'clock, 7:15, 8 o'clock. Swami came around 9:30. So at around 9 o'clock, they brought so many snacks, some samosas, spring rolls, what is available here, in our Sadhana Trust shops. They had brought those puffs and spring rolls and all that. Again, everybody was eating and I thought, who will eat this? This I get every day. Wait, I will go there. Awesome food will be there. That was my plan. And when we got into the aircraft, in the aircraft also they gave lovely food. But it so happened that the crew members were so eager to take photographs with Swami. That time there was no selfie. There was no camera in the front of the phone. It was only back camera. So they were all giving their cell phones and posing with Swami. And those days, 2009, cell phones had only 4 megapixel camera, 3 megapixel camera. So I went and told them, why do you want to take with that? Let me take with my camera. And Swami said, yes, my photographer, Swami said. So I sat in front. It was a lovely thing, no doubt. But I missed my entire snacks and beverages and food on the plane. So I didn't get my food on the plane. Imagine the others have had breakfast in the hostel, snacks at the airport, food in the flight. And then they get down. And in the bus that carried them to Hadshi, they had an entire refrigerator with ice cream and another full packed larder with food and snacks. But I got into Jadav's car, which had only peppermint. Nothing else was there to freshen the mouth. There was no food in the car. So it was around 11:45 or 12 when we reached Jadav residence, and the last thing I had eaten was previous day's dinner. That too I had not eaten much because I had butterflies in my stomach with the excitement of going to Hadshi, so I was very hungry. And I was so hungry, and in front of me I was seeing this feast. But I am not eating there. I am standing. And the few people who had accompanied Swami, they were all seated there and they were also eating. Swami had told them to eat. Suddenly the members of the family saw that me and my other brother, who was with the video camera, we were standing and shooting. We were also part of Swami's entourage and we were not eating. So they decided to offer us food. I thought, okay, good. This will be the first time I'll be eating with Swami. And now what happened was, as they brought the plate to that brother, he has eaten in the hostel, in the airport, in the flight. So he said, no, I don't eat. I said, oh God, I hope they don't stop offering me now, And they offered. The moment they offered me the plate, I was standing there, bang opposite was Swami, sitting and having his lunch. He looked up at me. He kept looking at me. Now I didn't know what I should do. Should I take the plate and start eating? It will not look nice. So I said, later, not now. And Swami seemed so happy. He smiled and gave a blessing from there. And I felt happy. My heart was full, though my stomach was empty. And I felt happy. I left it. And Swami smiled, and that smile was so characteristic because Swami was eating and talking to people by his side. Suddenly he looked up, smiled and blessed. So everybody looked at, who is this person? Okay. So not only Swami, everybody saw me. So after that, they even offered fruit salad and I said no, because I thought Swami likes me refusing as of now. But I'm telling you, I ended up so hungry. And today when I look back at this episode, I just feel that in life we do this often, whether it comes to selecting our job, selecting a life partner, picking up anything, anything that we want, we just feel that, no, this is not good enough. Maybe something good will come tomorrow. Maybe something good. We always give up today for the sake of our imagined tomorrow. That's what they say, being is lost in becoming. But I feel any opportunity that comes by, let's grab it. I'll take a little detour. Bhagawan had given some of us the opportunity to sleep in his residence at Vrindavan when we were students. Let me confess that though we were sleeping in Swami's residence, we never got to see Swami even once during those days. Okay, because we would come into the residence after Swami had retired in his room, and we would leave the residence before Swami came out. So actually nothing is happening, but still it's a great satisfaction that as you lie down to sleep, you look up at the roof and you know that if I break this wall, it is Swami there. That proximity effect, that's all. But over there also, I just thought, let me take a 3-day leave. I will go visit some friends and family and come back. Because anyway, I will be here, right? Somehow after I went, in 2 days I felt like coming back. I don't know why I felt that. I came back rushed. And I went and slept at Swami's residence. That was in my 3rd year undergraduation, my final year undergraduation. There were still 10 more days for me to join at Prasanthi NIlayam for MSc. I came back one day earlier, and it so happened that the next day morning, Swami called all of us, blessed us and said, go to Prasanthi NIlayam, go in advance, get settled there. And I realized that had I not come back that day, that would have been my last day at I would never have got to, cherish that last. If we think of the future, because the future is uncertain. In fact, Swami tells the story of Narada. When Lord Vishnu asked him, what is the thing that you find very funny on earth? Narada says, I find it very funny that the dying are crying for the dead. The dying are crying for the dead. By their crying, the dead won't come back to life. By their crying, their dying won't stop. But still they cry. We never know what the future holds. What opportunities we get in the present, let's grab it and utilize it. And this becomes even more important when we think of our divine journey to God, because most of us think, let us finish our earning, let us finish our career, let us finish our child, get child married, get grandchildren, everything. Once we finish duties, then let us think of God. Krishna tvadiya pada pankaja panjaranta adyeva ma vishatu manasa raja hamsaha. There is this poet who says, O Krishna, let the swan of my mind get trapped in the cage of your lotus feet. Why? Prana prayana samaye kafavata pittaihi kantavarodana vidau smaranam kutaste. Because if I get old, at that time I will be plagued by kapha, vata, pitta. All the 3 bodily fluids will start plaguing me. I will be sick. At that time when I am sick and diseased, where will I have the energy to think of you? I will be thinking only of my body, mind that time. When we are sick, we think only of the body. That is why Swami says, keep up health. Health is important. Health is more important than wealth. Swami says, wealth is lost, nothing is lost. Health is lost, something is lost. Character is lost, everything is lost. Why that something is lost? Because this body is a boat that is given to us to cross this ocean of worldly existence and reach God. If we don't maintain the body, we will not be able to think of God. When I sit in meditation, I'll be thinking of the pain in my leg, not of God. So in order to ensure that I can think of God, let me maintain my body. So therefore, let me think of God right now. Let me start. Let me not postpone it for the future, because an opportunity at hand is better than a future opportunity that I imagine. All these profound thoughts didn't strike me when I was hungry there. But as I said, when I look back into the diary and look back at those episodes, I just feel that all these lessons are embedded there. After visiting the home there, we Again, I got into the car of this Mr. Jadav, and we were now traveling towards Hadshi. And when we were traveling towards Hadshi, I just wanted to tell Mr. Jadav that he's very, 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 very fortunate, because Bhagawan has visited his house. I said, sir, I want to tell you one thing. He said, before that, I want to tell you one thing. I said, yes? I want to tell you, you are very, 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 very fortunate. He told me. And I said, oh, okay. Actually, I didn't tell him, but this is exactly what I wanted to tell him. He said, in that house, 50 of us were there. But still, Swami looked only at you and smiled and blessed you like this. How fortunate you are. Oh, okay. So I just kept silent. And then we actually reached Hadshi. And when we reached Hadshi, there's a huge ground. It's a magnificent place. If possible, we should visit. In fact, this is the perfect time to visit somewhere in the end of May, because Swami had told in that visit that I will come every year. Physically, that never happened. So they believe that Swami visits every year, and every year for 10 days in the month of May, they keep everything open. They allow the devotees even to visit Swami's room, the room where Swami stayed, the cot that he used, the table in which he dined. I think probably this is the only ashram, Swami's ashram currently on earth which allows all this. So it's beautiful and it's a magnificent place. So there was a large ground, and finally the Swami's residence was there. And Swami's residence, there was a ribbon tied for inauguration. And I wanted to get a photograph of Swami inaugurating it. There was a golden scissors with which Swami cut the ribbon. Now, what is the best place to get a photograph of Swami cutting the ribbon? To be on the other side, which means I should inaugurate Swami's residence before he actually inaugurates. But I felt that is no big deal, because anyway somebody would have been inside, right, when they're doing the table, when they're doing the groundwork. And even now when Swami cuts the ribbon, it is not as if it will be empty. There will be somebody inside. So I thought, let me also be there inside. So I rushed. Now Swami was coming, so I rushed ahead. I tried to lift the ribbon and go under. Immediately, 4 hands came and pushed me out. No, be there. So, oh God. And seeing that treatment, the security who were there, they picked me and he threw me even more behind. None of the things worked. I didn't have any family badge and all by then. I had removed it. Even as this was happening, the Jadav brother came running. He came running, He said, hey, what are you doing? He saw me, is very special person. Hey, you want to go in? He just lifted the ribbon and said, go in. Whatever he wants, let him do. And then I realized, why was all this happening? Nothing because of me. It didn't matter what my position, nothing mattered. That one smile, I just felt, Swami, in my life, if I can make you smile, it's enough, Swami. It's enough. Make Swami smile, everything gets taken care of. Because the purpose of our life is to please God. The purpose of our life is to make Swami happy. Or whichever form we adore and worship. Let's make that form and name happy, that's enough. Nothing else matters. I have seen this many times, where I have delivered a stupendous speech and Swami is not happy. The same time I have seen a person give a pathetic speech. Pathetic in the worldly terms. In content, in delivery, in eye contact, in body expressions. Bad, hopeless. But the moment he finishes his speech, Swami claps. And the whole of Kulwant Hall claps for him. For that pathetic speaker, the whole Kulwant Hall claps. And for this great speaker, nobody claps. Why? Because Swami did not clap. It doesn't matter what Kulwant Hall feels. It matters what Swami feels. Because if Swami is happy, Kulwant Hall will be happy, the world will be happy. It has to be happy. Because the master of the world is happy. So why on earth am I trying to please the world? Why on earth am I trying to please people? Why can't I simply make my Lord happy? That was what I realized when that inauguration took place. And I was speaking about how let us please the name and form that we have chosen. When I say Swami, it's not as if like all of us should choose Swami. I have chosen Swami as my God, so I say, let me please Swami. If some of you have chosen Krishna, please Krishna. If you have chosen Shiva, choose Shiva. This also I saw, Swami is very, very, very particular about our loyalty. Imagine, here is Swami's devotee, who has acquired a huge tract of land, wants to build a complete mandir for Swami. And when he has built, Swami says, no, don't make it my mandir. said, Swami, I have done all this for you. Yes, I know you have done it for me. But let the ground floor be for Shirdi Baba. Let the first floor be for Panduranga. Because that is the name and form that people in that region worship. Now, I was simply touched. I was just thinking, which other guru will refuse such a thing? I will do for you, Guru. I will do everything. I will install. Yes, install me. I will give you my best photograph. You put it. This is how many modern day gurus may be. But it is only absolute selflessness that will think only about others and not about oneself. Because when actually Swami inaugurated the mandir, even today if you go, the ground floor mandir is a temple of Shirdi Baba. The first floor mandir is a temple of Panduranga. Swami's photograph is there. But Swami insisted that it should not be his temple. Let it be Panduranga temple, because that is the name and form that people in that region love and worship. Loyalty to the name and form that you have chosen is so important. There are many devotees of Lord Shiva who have come to Swami and they have seen Shiva in Swami, and that is why they have loved Swami. Swami never said, okay, Shiva and all for bygone era. Now let him go, now come to me. No. Christians have seen their Lord Jesus in Swami. Zoroastrians have seen Zoroaster in Swami. And that is why they have loved Swami and worshipped Swami. And I feel that if I have loved and worshipped Swami as my God, now I will not change to anybody. It is stupid to think Swami is physically gone, now which other guru? Who is next? Water is there everywhere under the surface of the ground. The same water. Whether in Israel or India or America or Germany, it is the same water. But to get that water, I have to dig a well. And to dig a well, I have to dig at the same place persistently. I have to dig 500 feet in one place, I will get that water. Instead, if I dig 50 feet in 10 places, I have dug 500 feet, but I have ended up with 50 ditches, that's all. I won't get water. So Swami says, yes, all names are His. All forms are His. God is one. God is the same. But you, to get your water, please stick to your well. Till you reach a level where you can get water from the atmosphere, please dig your well in the same spot. And that is why I feel loyalty to the name and form is so important. I am reminded of so many incidents. One quickly, what I'll recap is what happened to the father of Professor T. Ravikumar, the warden currently at Brindavan campus of our university. His father was diagnosed with cancer and he used to worship Lord Shiva. And when his daughter came and said, I'm speaking in the 60s, his 60s or maybe 50s, 60s I think. His daughter came and said that Swami, there is Sai Baba at Brindavan. He's God. You pray to him. That time, Mr. Tyagarajan, he said, when the Lords I have worshipped for so long can't cure me, what will a new God do? And he didn't go to Brindavan. And I feel Swami appreciated that because he was called to Brindavan. How? A superior in his office said that we have an important client who is coming. That client has one desire, can you help him with that? What is the desire? He wants to meet Sai Baba at Brindavan. And so, accompanying this client, Mr. Tyagarajan went to Brindavan. And at Brindavan, when he went, he thought, oh, maybe this is my Shiva. Maybe this is the Lord that I have worshipped. Maybe this is my Venkateshwar, whoever, the God that he worshipped. And even that became disappointment because he saw that the moment they entered the ashram, Swami was walking back into the residence and the gate was being closed. He felt it symbolic that the gates have been shut on me. And he asked that friend, what should we do? Not that friend, that client. He said, let us sit here for some time and then go. So they both sat there. And when they were sitting there, within 15 minutes the gates opened and Swami comes walking. And Mr. Tyagarajan thought, oh, this fellow must be a big shot. Swami is coming for him. And Swami comes and says, you. Him only. Because I am not a devotee, no? I am not a devotee. We feel like that. Devotees will get. I am not a devotee. We think it's a club membership. It's God not like that. Our love matters. Doesn't matter which form we loved, which name we loved. Loyalty is appreciated. To his shock, Swami said, you Tyagarajan. Me? Swami came straight to him and said, the doctors are telling you have cancer. I am telling you don't have cancer because your cancer is cancelled. Finished. He lived for 3 decades after that day. In fact, on one occasion when Ravi Kumar sir was narrating this incident in Bhagawan's presence in Trai Vrindavan, Swami told him, hey, the doctor who told that your father will die in few months, he died. Your father is still there. And when he found out that is what had actually happened, that doctor who predicted that he will live a few months died. Mr. Tyagarajan continued to live till his ripe old age of 84 or 85. And he passed away in Prasanthi NIlayam. One day morning, every day morning, he would get up and do pradakshina to Swami's residence and the Kulwant Hall. That morning he completed. Near Yajur Mandir gate, he bowed down, never got up. That was how he gave up, So there also see, Swami did not say, hey, your daughter, I'm sending invitation through your daughter and you're telling you'll stick to Shiva. Go to Shiva, let's see what will happen. No. It doesn't matter whether we pray to Shiva, Krishna, Jesus, Rama, doesn't matter at all. What matters is our loyalty. Because if you're not loyal to one, what is the guarantee you'll be loyal to the next? That's the proof. Once a thief, always a thief. That is what I realized there. Another thing, another very important lesson is the way Swami would be inside at Hadshi and the way Swami would be outside. Inside he was so intimate, so close, so nice, so, he will talk like he's such a close family member to you. And you also open up completely. It is so wonderful. But it is so different outside. Inside you take his hand and kiss his hand and Swami will smile. Outside you try to kiss his hand, Swami will say, hey, I wonder what happened, Swami? Same fellow I am. 5 minutes back I kissed your hand there, nothing happened. Here when I'm trying to kiss your hand, you're pulling away and telling, don't do all this. What's this? I used to wonder why different behavior, but there is a reason. Because Swami says, you are not Vyashti Jivi. You are not an individual. You are a Samashti Jivi. You are a social animal, a social being. What does that mean? When we live in society, we'll do so because we depend on society. Some of me think, where do I depend on society? No, I am a self-made man. There is no self-made man in society. I realize when I get up in the morning, I go to the bathroom, I open the tap. Because there are some calls that you can't keep on hold. When man calls, nobody listens. When God calls, few people listen. But they say when nature calls, everybody listens. And there when you go and open the tap, water comes. We don't realize that that is a miracle of society. If I lived in a forest, I won't have that facility to get water at will. There is my watchman who is pumping water to my tank. There is a man in the corporation who is pumping water from there into my sump. There is somebody who is pumping water into that tank. There is a huge machinery that is working to ensure that when I open my tap in the morning, I get water. I have to be grateful to society for that miracle. I sit and do my work. The office is clean. The building is beautiful. Who built the building? Did I make my office? Did I make the computer? Did nothing. I am just doing a little bit. Everything I am dependent on society for. My food, my water, my clothes, everything. And so, it is foolish to think I am a self-made man. Nobody is a self-made man or a self-made woman. Everybody depends on the other, and because of everybody around that we are what we are. And Swami says you have to pay your regard and respect for that. When you are alone, you can do what you want. But when you are in society, you have to behave as per norms of society. This is a very important lesson today, because today individuality is becoming so important. People say it's my wish. It's my right. I speak and hurt somebody so badly. I hurt the religious sentiments of somebody very badly. And I say it's my freedom of speech. It's my freedom to insult. What stupidity is this? I am not living in a bubble. I am not living individually. I need that same society. And tomorrow when that society comes and breaks down my house, I say this is wrong. I don't care about my responsibility towards society, but I want society to respect my boundaries. Why will it happen? Swami says, no, when you are in society, you have to live. That's why there is a prescribed clothing. No, it's my freedom. I will flaunt what I want. I will not wear any dress. I will wear only thin dress. It's my freedom. It's your freedom if you're living alone on an island. But when you're living in society, there are rules that are made for all to live together. And that is made for the sake of harmony, that's all. If you don't follow it, then don't expect benefit from society. Because Swami himself followed it. For how many of us, Swami was the dearest, most loving being. And yet, Swami would never call a lady alone for an interview. It would always be in a group. Why, Swami? No. Because I am in a society. And I have to behave as per society. Rama sent Sita to the forest. Why? Rama knows Sita. Rama knows her purity. Why? It is important because you are not an individual alone. You are a member of society. This is what happened. A Digambara Swami had come to Swami in the 1940s. A Digambara Swami is a person who uses sky as his clothing. Basically, he is naked. He had come with 4 disciples and he became a sight. Everybody will gather and watch, right? It's a unique sight. Everybody is standing there. And he came to Swami to challenge Swami. And Swami came and blessed him. Not with a chain or a watch or a ring. Swami gave him a big white towel. And then Swami said something to him, after which he broke down. Swami told him, why are you doing this? If you want only God and you want to show your detachment, then give up everything really and go to the forest. But you are not going to the forest because you are fearing what will happen to your food. What will happen to water? What will happen? Who will take care of you? You are worried about it, right? I take care of so many beings in the forest. I'll take care of you also. Don't worry. But if you want to have disciples, if you wish to stay in society, do things for society, get name and fame in society, whatever, you want to do things related to society, then be in society like how society demands. Don't walk around like this. Where is this towel? He went back a wiser man with gratitude to Swami. Swami himself followed it. Swami himself, when if he is the supreme being who can do whatever, he is defining the laws of the universe, why is he following man-made rules? Why does he follow? What a restricted life Swami led physically. You and me can walk out in the garden, he never could do that. Because they would be crowding. What's his fault? I want to enjoy the garden. No. There's a responsibility. There are people seeking me. So in order to ensure that there is discipline and there's no crowding and there's no stampede, I won't go for a walk in the garden. Swami never went. He gave up. Because he's not just an individual, he's a member of society. And this is what I learned when I saw the way Swami behaved inside and the way Swami was outside in public. This manifests in different ways. I know certain people, I have come to know of certain people who possibly when they were in their 30s and 40s, they gave up family. I don't care for family. I don't care for society. I want to give up everything. Great. But what I'm saying is, youth is a time when anything seems possible. Let us not be drunk in the intoxication of youth and give up, because these same people, when they became old, they're lonely. They want company. They complain. I have myself heard complaints. They complain that my family doesn't care for me. Why will they care? You gave them up. When you were in a position to help them with your energy, strength and money, you said, no, I don't want. I don't care. I am renouncing. And now you come and tell, I want my family to help. Why will they help? In fact, it's a misnomer. We think that giving up family is giving up responsibilities. If we look at Swami's life, Swami gave up family. But he didn't give it up to escape responsibility. He gave it up to take on a greater responsibility. First responsibility is we have to take care of ourselves. When I'm ready to expand my heart and grow a little larger, become a little more selfless, not be only selfish, then I decide to take on a family. Because now, I just don't take care of myself, I take care of some others also. And then if I am going to give up my family responsibility, it is because I will not restrict myself to taking care of just my family, but I will take care of the society. For the sake of society, I will give up my family. So, it is wrong to think that we are running away from responsibility by giving up family. If we are not ready for a higher responsibility, let us take care of the family properly. Let us not say Swami gave up his family. Swami gave up his family for the sake of society, no, for the sake of the world. And that is why Swami did not even physically die a lonely death. He had 1 billion people around him when he left physically. Because that is the amount of work he did for others. But even there, you go to his family members, they will tell of how much Swami did for them. Go to his students, they will tell of how much he did for them. Swami did for the universe, Swami did for the society, Swami did for his family. And therefore the family, the society and the universe did for him. He didn't have to take care of himself. That is what he would tell in the discourses, this body is your responsibility. And he did not have to take care of, because there were others who were so concerned for him. Every one of us were concerned for him. So when we say we are giving up family and dedicating to Swami, let us examine, are we really dedicating to Swami, or am I just being selfish that I don't want to give my time and energy to family and I want it all for myself? Because if we are doing it selfishly, a time will come when we will feel that I'm lonely, I need my friends, I need family, nobody is coming to me. It happened to one devotee, I won't name that person. He did a lot for Swami physically, but he was very, very ruthless with the devotees, with everybody. He would speak very cruelly, very strongly. He didn't care. He said, I'm doing it for Swami. Finally, in his own excrement, in his own infected body, he was lying on his bed. Nobody to look after him. Swami went to his residence and cleaned him. And in tears, he said, Swami, all my life I have done for you, Swami. Is this how I am getting in my old age? And Swami told him, Bangaru, you did for me, so I am doing for you. But sadly, you didn't do for anybody else. So nobody else is doing for you. So when we say that I am a self-made man, I am this, no, it is not. This is what I learned from Swami at Hadshi. That I may be individually, I may be God. But I am a person who has chosen to be in the society. Individually, I may be a person, but I have chosen to be an actor in this drama. I have to stick by the rules of the drama. I can't jump off the stage and say, actually, I am not belonging to the drama. No, you have chosen to act in the drama, stick to the rules of the drama. Because when the avatar himself chose to act in the drama, he stuck to the rules of the drama. The time is up. Maybe I'll just wrap up with one final episode. There are a few more, but I will conclude this one because, again, this was very important. We often, think that we have faith. I have faith in Swami, yes. I have love for Swami. We do not understand what we mean by telling that. And often Swami would give the example of Arjuna, who, when Krishna pointed a bird in the sky and said, Arjuna, look at that crow. He said, yes, Krishna, that crow is flying there. No, I think it's an eagle. Yes, Krishna, it's an eagle. No, I think it's a parrot. Yes, Krishna, it's a parrot. And Krishna said, are you mad? You don't have your eyes? What, you're agreeing to whatever I say? And Arjuna says, Lord, rather than have faith in my eyes, I have faith in your words. I'll believe what you say. I will not, rather than believe what I see. And Swami says, that is the kind of faith Arjuna had. And whenever I used to hear this, I used to feel, Swami, that I also have. If you tell me, I'll also agree. What is so great in Arjuna? I used to always think like this. What is so great in Arjuna? If you also tell me, I'll also agree. In Hadshi, I got an opportunity to exercise this faith, and I failed miserably. Because one morning, I went out and took photographs, and Swami's residence, behind Swami's residence, the sun was rising, orange ball, and Swami's residence was silhouetted, dark, black. The outlines were seen, it was looking so beautiful. I took a picture. So it is like a black mandir, completely dark mandir, with a bright orange background. And I felt it is very symbolic because Swami also wears the orange robe like that, the orange radiate. It was beautiful. And when I got an opportunity to show Swami some photographs, put on a big screen, and we had a photograph viewing session in Hadshi, a beautiful session. So as I was showing different photographs, I came to this photograph. And Swami immediately told me, look at the moon, how beautiful it is. And I said, no, Swami, that is the sun. Swami said, no, it is the moon. See, it is dark. It is fully dark. It is night. No, so it is moon. Now I thought how to explain to Swami that I have set the camera exposure to the sun and not to the mandir, and that's why it is looking dark. So I said, no, Swami, it's not the moon. See, Swami, moon is white, right? This is orange. See, it's the sun. I am telling the creator of the sun that this is the color, so this is how you distinguish. Oh, okay. You're sure? I think it is the moon. No, Swami, I'm sure this is the sun. Okay, whatever you say. And I smiled and went on. Now, today when I look back at that, I realized that I always told Swami, what is great in Arjuna? I will also do. But what did Arjuna do? He said, Krishna, whatever you say, rather than trust my eyes, I will trust your word. But I did the opposite. Rather than trust your word, I trust my eyes. And I made Swami tell me whatever you say, instead of me telling Swami whatever you say. This is another lesson I learned, that we often overestimate our faith and underestimate others' faith. We overestimate our love for God and underestimate others' love for God. We think, see, I love what all I'm doing for Swami. See, these people ungrateful. They don't do anything. They're useless. We think like that about others. We have no idea of anybody's love for Swami or faith in God. Only God can judge that, and these are moments when the mirror is kept. I felt that I am having great faith in Swami, and I felt Swami kept a mirror. I hope I won't delay you, because I'm just tempted. With this Krishna Arjuna, only another little episode. This happened much before. Swami has kept this mirror in front of my face many times. You think you have faith? Here, see your mirror, see your face. This happened many years before with the same incident, Whenever Swami would narrate this incident, the birds would change actually. In one, Swami has narrated crow, eagle and parrot. Another time, Swami narrates it as a hen, peacock, and he keeps changing the bird. And I used to feel, okay, Swami, for variety's sake, to get little more interesting twist, you are narrating. So I used to tell, okay, fine. And I used to make notes whenever Swami gives discourse. So whenever it comes to this story, I won't note it down because I know the story. I'll just note down the birds' names to tell that in this discourse, Swami used these 3 birds. In that discourse, Swami used those 3 birds. So that's the only thing changing. Rest of the story remains same. This was a tri session inside Swami's residence. Swami speaking to all the students. And Swami said, while narrating, no, in this tri session, usually, as I said, it will only be mostly the students only and a few others, devotees. So Swami is little more, intimate and comfortable, and he's speaking because, as I said, there is not such a big society now. Now, as he was narrating the story, when it came to the story, I stopped making notes because I know it's the same story. And I just wanted to note down the birds. And Swami said, Krishna told Arjuna, look Arjuna, it's a horse. And I said, horse? Swami, come on, okay, your creativity with birds is okay. Come on, horse doesn't fly, Swami. And Swami says, Arjuna said, yes, Krishna, it's a horse. Then he said, no, it's a lion. I said, oh God, Swami, you're messing it up. I understand that you try creatively using different birds, but don't mess it up using animals. Animals don't fly. And I put my pen down and I sat like this. And Swami went on, with animals only. He finished the story also. And today when I look back, I feel again another fail, epic fail on my part. Means, Swami, I am like Arjuna if you stick to birds. If you change it to animals, no. Animal can't fly. Arjuna never said, Krishna, because you are telling birds, I am agreeing. Had you told it is an elephant, then I would have told, I pack off, it's not elephant. I wouldn't have. Arjuna would not have done. If Krishna had told that's a dinosaur there, Arjuna would have said, yes, my lord, it is dinosaur. Forget actually pointing and saying. When Swami is narrating in the story only, I am not ready to accept it. And I think I have faith in his words. So, these are a few episodes from that Hadshi visit. As I said, it might be one incident, but when we look back, when we treasure it and cherish it, each time we think of it, new lessons come. That is in fact what Swami told after the Hadshi visit. When we came and we said, Swami, we are grateful to you for this. Swami said, if you are grateful, remember everything that happened and keep recollecting this every time in your life. Because I realize that when we look back at the same episode over and over again, each time new lessons that we need in our life comes. That is why thinking of God is so beneficial. Listening to Swami's discourses again and again is so beneficial. Reading the same thing again and again is so beneficial because each time it makes new meaning and new sense. I am grateful to Swami for this wonderful opportunity to relive some of those episodes in that memorable Hadshi visit. Thank you. Jai Sai Ram.